Bubba was the kind of person who never took much for granted, especially friendships and peace of mind. His early years as an orphan were hard, and it brought him an understanding of what was important. One cold afternoon, as Bubba walked through the town, he looked at how busy it was, people shopping and lots of sales everywhere. He also noticed the added stress on the postman's face and how many deliveries each day he was doing. Bubba thought about that and decided that he would try to lend a hand. So he went to the meal centre and asked Danny, the postmaster, if there was anything he could do to help ease the load. Danny was really taken back by his offer and said, "Bubba, I'd be grateful of anything you could do." Bubba replied, "Okay, I'll borrow the community bus in the morning and do a few deliveries for you. Is that okay, Danny?" The postmaster replied, "Oh, that's great, Bubba. How? Because of the lack of funding, I can only pay you the standard rate of wages." Bubba said, "I'm not doing it for money. I'm just doing it to help out." "Oh, yeah, that's it. Okay, I'll see you in the morning about 6. "Right you are." Bubba left and went straight to Charlie's house. He knocked on the door and Charlie answered. "Hey, Bubba, it's nearly Christmas." "Sure enough, Charlie," Bubba replied. "So is everything all right?" Bubba replied, "I got a job lined up for tomorrow, Charlie." Charlie said, "Oh, great news, Bubba. I could use some extra cash for Christmas." Bubba said, "Charlie, it's a Goodwill job we're doing." "What's that, Bubba?" "It's a job we're not getting paid for," Bubba replied. "I'm not with you. What are you talking about, Bubba?" Charlie looked puzzled. Bubba smiled and continued. The thing is, Charlie, sometimes we do things to help others. Sometimes in life we give a little just because we want to." Charlie was speechless. Well, gives you a nice feeling?" "Yeah, it gives you a nice feeling to do something for nothing." "Help who, Bubba?" "Danny, down at the meal centre." "What's his problem?" "He can't get the meal delivered. There are so many cards and letters this year, and if we don't help out, Charlie, a lot of people might be disappointed because they never got their meal." "And we're going to do it for Goodwill? Is that what you're saying?" said Charlie. Bubba patted Charlie on the back and he said, "Exactly. Now you're talking, Charlie." Taking a step back, Charlie asked, "When are you going to start this Goodwill thing?" "Tomorrow at 6 in the morning, Bubba replied. Charlie said, "I'd love to help out, but I promised Mommy I'd do some cleaning for her tomorrow morning." At that very moment, Charlie's mother returned home from work. She met Bobo at the front door and said, "Oh, hello, Bobo. The boss gave us all the day off today. Seems Goodwill has finally got to him. Are you okay? How are you?" Bobo replied, "I'm fine. Is that true about him giving you the day off?" "Not really, Bobo. I'm just not feeling too good, to tell you the truth." "So, is that why you asked Charlie to do some cleaning for you tomorrow morning, then?" Bobo asked her, and she burst out laughing and replied, "Charlie? Clean up? Bobo, that's a good one." Bobo looked at Charlie and said, "Then, if Charlie's free in the morning, is it okay if he comes out with me? I'm in need of a hand to do a little job for someone." "No problem, Bobo. That would be great. Then I'll get the chance to get some peace and quiet for a while." Bobo looked at Charlie's bright red face and he said, "I'll see you at 6 in the morning then." Bobo was parked outside Charlie's house. He tooted the horn 3 times. Eventually, he saw Charlie peeping out from behind the curtains. He turned off the engine and walked up to the front door. Bobo stood there onto Charlie's bedroom window and started to shout aloud. "I know you're up, Charlie. So if you think I'm going to leave you without you, then you're wrong." A few dogs started to bark. Some of the neighbourhood lights came on. "Hurry up and get yourself down here." Charlie finally opened the window and said, "Okay, Bobo, I'm on my way. Keep the noise down." Charlie came out and got in the bus, and off they went to the post office. Bobo backed the car into the large roller doors at the delivery centre and rang the bell. Danny opened up the door and said, "Oh, good morning, Bobo. I've got a few sacks for you. Each sack has a list of odd and even numbers and a code for the streets on the local map." "That sounds easy enough," said Bobo, who got out and opened the back of the bus. He gave Charlie a fierce but friendly gaze and said, "Charlie, will you get yourself into gear and get the bags on the bus?" Charlie helped load the mail bags into the bus, and Danny said, "Morning tea's at 9, boys. So see you in the sorting room. Then it's my treat, okay?" Nice one, Danny. See you at 9. Bobo got in and drove off. Charlie sat there in the front, looking a little happier, and he said, "So we're getting a free morning tea then? That sounds okay." "It's called Goodwill, Charlie. How do you feel?" "Feel good, Bobo," came the reply. Bobo pulled up at the top of the hill and pointed to a street opposite, and he said, "That there is Pine Street, Charlie." Then he grabbed a sack from the back of the bus and pointed to it, saying, "In this sack are the Pine Street mail. They all have odd numbers. Pop them in through the letterboxes that match, and while you do that, I'll do all the even numbers in Pine Street. Okay, Charlie?" Charlie walked back across the road while Bobo continued along his way. Most of the homes had doors with letterboxes. Some houses had none. Others had people at the door waiting for their mail. Some of these people handed tips to the lads with nice compliments and comments like, "Oh, you're doing a great job. Keep it up." "Get yourself a cup of tea." "You look busy. This might come in handy." "Have a nice Christmas." At the bottom of the street, the boys had pockets full of small change. When they got into the bus, they counted it all out and divided it 2 ways. Charlie was beaming and began to hum a few bars of Santa Claus is Coming to Town, and stopping, he said, "This kid's well. It's good work, isn't it? It's not too bad, Bobo." "That's all good, Charlie," Bobo replied. When they had delivered most of their sacks, they headed back to the mail centre for morning tea. Parking the truck at the back door, they walked through the side door entrance into the sorting room, which was deserted. They called out, but no one answered. And then they walked around the back loading dock. There was no sign of anyone. It was quiet and still. Bobo and Charlie made their way back to the bus, and suddenly a group of postal workers jumped out and shouted, "Surprise!" Charlie went white for a while, nearly collapsed with fright. Danny walked over and he reached out a hand and he said, "Happy Christmas, boys." They all shook hands, and Danny brought them into the sorting room where they all sat down. A trolley of food and drink was wheeled in through the back door, and plates of cooked breakfast and trays were brought over to everyone, and morning tea began. Someone dressed up in a Santa suit arrived on a bicycle and handed out presents to everyone who was there. After the party, Bobo and Charlie thanked Danny for their kindness and returned to work. For the rest of the day, they delivered the mail all over the town. A day's hard work came to an end, and Bobo and Charlie made their way home. As the community bus made its way through the town, it started to snow. traffic lights were red, and as Bobo came to a stop, he saw an old man walk past down an alleyway, where he lay down amongst some garbage bags that were piled up outside the back door of one of the shops. As tired and hungry as Bobo was, he pulled up to the side and parked the bus. "Come on, Charlie. We have another Goodwill job we need to do." As Bobo walked down the sidewalk to the back alleyway, Charlie followed behind. They walked down the alleyway, and there he was, lying half asleep, with his white hair scattered all over his unshaven face. Bobo put his hand on the old man's shoulder, and he almost jumped 6 feet in the air, and he screamed, "What do you want?" So Bobo apologized for frightening him and said, "Sorry, tell me, what is you doing this part of the town?" "I couldn't pay rent, and I got told to leave. The bread and breakfast were instead, and that's why." "So, whereabouts did you used to live?" Bobo asked. "We live with Goldilocks in Bryson House." Bobo smiled and he said, "Well, I lived there once too, after I left the orphanage." The old man sat up and became a little bit more friendly towards Bobo. "So you know the house rules of Bryson then?" Bobo replied. "Goldilocks is a hard woman. She takes a lot of getting used to," said Bobo. The old man replied, "She sure does. I was 3 weeks behind with the rent, and she turned me out to the street." Bobo asked, "What brought you up to Bryson House in the first place?" "I came here for a job that fell through, and without work I couldn't pay the rent." Suddenly 2 men came from the street. They rushed down the alley. They were being chased by the police. One of them had a handgun and the other one had a bag. The old man sprung up on his feet and he threw a left hook that brought down the man with the bag, and his partner pointed the gun and shot the old man. Bobo lifted his fist and struck the bandit twice that knocked him unconscious. The police swooped and surrounded the area. As it turned out, the 2 bandits had robbed one of the largest shops in town and made their escape on foot. Bobo pointed out to the police that the homeless man had stopped the 2 bandits single-handed. It wasn't long before the TV cameras arrived with other media people, and the old man's story was broadcast that evening on the main television network. And an in-depth interview with him told the story about how he come to the city looking for a job, and that he had lost his farm. And with the tragedy of the airborne virus, his livestock that contracted a crippling disease resulted in him being destroyed, and all of the animals along with it. And massive debts to the bank saw him go out somewhere looking for work to clear his debts. His inability to find work in the city saw him to go through all the little money he had in his pocket. Now, with the old man receiving a reward for his bravery, he was able to return home for Christmas. His wife still was waiting for him on the farm, hoping that he would be able to find some work. But she never expected to see him on the TV, and she was so proud of him. The old man was grateful that Bobo saved his life, and the 2 solid punches that Bobo had landed were more than adequate to prevent him from being shot dead in the alleyway. Before the old man left the city, he paid Bobo a visit, handing him a scrap of paper with a map and some directions. And he said, "Hey, Bobo, you must promise you and Charlie you come to visit me on the farm at Christmas." "Aye, I'll come as soon as I can," Bobo replied. When Christmas came later that year, Bobo and Charlie knocked upon the farmhouse door. They were brought in and given a warm welcome and some of the best home-cooked food you could ever hope to taste. The TV report about how the old farmer brought off and fought off two dangerous bandits really captured the hearts of many people. It stirred the heart of a nation, and within a week letters with generous donations had poured in. The farm was now debt-free, and all the livestock had been replaced by fit and healthy cattle and egg-laying hens. Sheep with thick new wool and well-proportioned pigs now filled the fields and pens. Bobo and Charlie had a great Christmas that year. They had seen Goodwill in action, as well as making some gestures of their own. The end.